Okay. Dinesh, would you like to get it started? And then I think the first on the agenda is His Excellency's welcome remark, right?
Yes, correct. So, Chairman, with your kind permission, we'd like to
Yes.
begin. And Ms. Iman, I'd like to welcome His Excellency to present his welcome address to each and every one of you. Once again, a very good afternoon to you from the Singapore Indian Chamber of Commerce in conjunction with the government of the Maldives. We'd like to present to you this wonderful webinar this afternoon. And with that, we will also encourage some Q&A dialogue, but not till after the presentations have been made. Over to you, sir, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, colleagues. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to you all. It's a good morning for me because I'm in Maldives at the moment, but good afternoon to you all. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all to the High Commission's webinar on investment opportunities in the Maldives, which is organized in collaboration with Singapore Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. At the very start, I would like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for facilitating the organization of this webinar. I would like to especially thank the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Mr. Abdullah Shahid, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Mr. Ahmad Halil, Foreign Secretary, His Excellency Mr. Ahmad Latif, and Secretary Multilateral, Her Excellency Dr. Hala Hamid, for their guidance and close coordination in making this webinar a reality. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our stakeholders, Ministry of Economic Development, Ministry of Fisheries, Marine Resource and Agriculture, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Technology, and Housing Development Corporation for your cooperation in organizing the webinar. Let me also take this opportunity to thank my team at the High Commission for their hard work and commitment. Excellencies, distinguished guests, understanding the reality of what is happening and what to come has never been more important since the pandemic. By recognizing and prioritizing opportunities that set both our countries on a path to resilience and identifying how the private sector can support this course of action, we will be able to create economies that will be more stable, inclusive, and sustainable in the long term. Following the government's decision to play a proactive role in stimulating economic activity, as well as building back a better and more resilient economy, our webinar today aims to provide a platform for the attending businesses and potential investors to get direct and accurate information on possible investment opportunities in the Maldives in the fields such as tourism investment, fisheries, aquaculture, and renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, though small in population, the Maldives enjoy a number of economic strengths, including an abundance of natural marine resources and a young and dynamic workforce. It has a conducive business environment for foreign investors with liberal trade environment, strong private business sector, modern tax system supported with proper legal protection for foreign investments. The pandemic has shown both the fragility of the global system and the importance of cooperation to tackle challenges together. Going back to business as usual is not an option. We need to build more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable economies and societies that are more resilient in the face of pandemic, climate change, and other global challenges. With this in mind, I look forward to the upcoming vibrant discussion and presentations. I thank you.
Thank you, High Commissioner. Before I hand over the floor for the presenters, let me go through a few housekeeping details. To help keep background noise to a minimum, please make sure that you mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Kindly note that today's session is being recorded. We will have our questions and answers session at the end. And you may raise your hands and ask the questions, or you may use the chat feature in this Zoom meeting, and I will read your questions out loud. Now that we are done with our housekeeping, I would like to welcome our first presenter, Ms. Uzma Abdul Latif, Executive at Investor Services of the Ministry of Economic Development. Uzma, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Iman. I would like to share my screen with you first. Can you all see my screen? All right, thank you very much. Good morning to my colleagues in Maldives and good afternoon to everyone in Singapore. My name is Uzma and today I will be presenting to you on doing business in the Maldives with a focus on the economic outlook of Maldives as well as the economic policy framework and the investment opportunities in the key sectors of our economy. Before going into the details, I would like to give you a brief about the economic outlook of Maldives. We are a small island state comprising of over 1,100 islands scattered over the Indian Ocean. We have about 187 of these islands are inhabited and 164 islands are in operation under the one island, one resort concept. There are over 639 guest houses in operation in several of the inhabited islands as well. We currently have 5 international airports in operation, Welana International Airport being the main gateway to the Maldives harbors the world's largest seaplane fleet in the world. The airport is currently undergoing one of the largest expansions in the history of Maldives. This project is expected to be completed in by the end of 2023. And upon completion, the airport will accommodate up to 7.5 million passenger arrivals every year. We have also 12 domestic airports across the country, in addition to 5 other domestic airports planned for development. There are 3 commercial ports in the Maldives, with the main port located in Malé. We have also enjoyed some of the highest income per capita in South Asia, and our gross national reserves stand at $994 million US dollars. Our country's local population is highly literate and has one of the highest adult literacy rates within the region. With universal primary education achieved in 2002 and the highest mobile internet usage in South Asia, our youth are very much technologically driven and educated. Now, because we have all of the countries in the world has gone through the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent global recession, I believe it's important to highlight how the Maldives has recovered from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the reliance on tourism sector to generate most of our revenue, Maldives was one of the hardest hit countries due to the COVID-19 outbreak. After a full lockdown, Maldives took a concerted effort to implement effective recovery measures and reopen its borders in July 2020. So the government's quick and effective recovery efforts demonstrated a high level of resilience, and Maldives was recognized as one of the most successful countries to overcome the adverse effects brought by the crisis that we have all faced. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, our economy had been growing at a steady pace at 6 to 8% GDP growth annually. This year, our GDP is expected to rise to 12% as we target 1.5 million tourist arrivals by the end of this year. Our legislative framework is designed to provide protection for all of our investors. So we have an open and liberal economic environment and consistent laws and growth to guarantee security for all of our investments. There are many lessons to be learned from the COVID-19 crisis. Based on our experience that our economy had to face, the government has identified 4 key themes upon which our development is focused on. So the Maldives economic policy framework is founded on the following 4 pillars. The decentralization theme focuses on the creation of regional and sub-regional hubs across the country with a local governance, autonomy, and improved connectivity between islands. The blue economy theme focuses on the well-being of our ecosystems and the well-being of people, as well as sustainability. In order to build a resilient economy, the government also focuses on diversifying our industries to improve transportation, mobility, including maritime services, improvement in maritime services, packaging facilities, export and re-export of products. The government is also a staunch advocate for pro-market policies that ensure transparent, safe and secure environments for investments with multiple vehicles for investment in the Maldives. So with a continued push to diversify our economic portfolio, our government has placed focus in 5 strategic areas for development. So these include the tourism sector, social and affordable housing, transport and logistics, fisheries, and renewable energy sector. In this presentation, I would be focusing mostly on the tourism sector because I believe our colleagues from the Ministry of Fisheries and Environment, as well as the Housing Development Corporation, will focus on the rest of the sectors. Before moving on to the investment opportunities in the tourism sector, I would like to give you a brief on the regulatory framework of investments in Maldives. So foreign investments in Maldives are governed under the Foreign Investment Law, the FDI policy, and Special Economic Zones Law and the Companies Act. Our FDI policy outlines requirements for investments in various sectors, except for investments submitted under the SEZ framework. The SEZ law governs large-scale infrastructure investments which exceed 150 million US dollars that has to be aligned with strategic priority areas of the government. So under our FDI policy, most business sectors are open with few sectors closed for security and strategic considerations, as well as in the interest of our locals. So if investors wish to undertake any business activity here in the Maldives, the foreign investments has to be approved prior to establishing a legal entity, either as a company or a partnership in Maldives. So depending on the proposed sector of business, approvals will take between 2 to 10 working days. There are 3 avenues for partnering with the government to invest in the Maldives. So potential investors can submit an unsolicited proposals policy, which is a proposal submitted by the own initiative of the investors that has to be aligned with the strategic priority areas of the government. Public-private partnership programs are for projects announced by the government, and government tenders are for competitive bidding for island leases, as well as for other specific requirements of the government. Looking into the FDI policy, all of the sectors are open for foreign investment, except those areas which are restricted for locals. Open sectors include those which allow 100% foreign ownership and those that require some percentage of local shareholding. Here in this table, we have identified some of your interest areas which are open for investment. As you can see, tourist resorts, tourist hotel, tourist vessels with minimum 40 beds, and yacht marina developments can have 100% foreign shareholding. The guest house industry, which was recently opened for foreign investors, are now open with a maximum foreign shareholding of 49%. Integrated tourism development projects are also open with 100% foreign ownership, as well as real estate activities with a 65% shareholding. Renewable energy projects can be negotiated with the government. And looking into the fisheries sector, the manufacturing of fish products as well as fish processing has been opened for foreigners with a maximum shareholding of 75%. And aquaculture and mariculture is open for foreign investors with 100% foreign ownership allowed. Looking into some of the incentives for investors, we have well-defined procedures and streamlined services under the Invest Maldives office. We allow for the participation of public-private partnership programs. There are long-term land leases for large-scale projects. There is no foreign exchange restrictions, and we allow for international arbitration in dispute resolution, and there is no restriction on repatriation of profits or capital proceeds. Finally, looking into the investment opportunities within our most lucrative investment sector, which provides excellent rates of return for our investors, the Maldives tourism offers opportunities for resort development, where islands are leased on competitive tender under an open bidding process or cross-subsidization model, which is tied to social or economic large-scale projects. So information regarding available islands for resort developments are published and made available on the Ministry of Tourism's website. There is also opportunity for investing in private islands. Our government has earmarked 14 private islands in designated areas to be sold for long-term personal use of investors. So the Maldives Fund Management Corporation will manage all the transactions related to the sale of private islands. There is also opportunity for state-initiated integrated tourism projects. So this is the modern resort concept which aims to promote economic opportunities to a variety of tourism beneficiaries. Here, a single island or part of a land from within an island is developed and operated with various tourist establishments such as tourist hotels, guest houses, yacht marinas, and so forth, allowing opportunities for small businesses as well as individual developments to take on investments. So we have Hankede, which is a designated zone in the South Adu Atoll, planned for development, as well as Gafaru, located in the central Male Atoll, as one such area for integrated tourism development as well. So information regarding this can also be available from the Maldives Fund Management Corporation, which I believe is also present here in this webinar today. Lastly, for all your investment-related interests, you may approach our office in Invest Maldives, Invest Maldives is the lead government agency responsible for the investment promotion and all investor-related services. Some of the services provided by the Invest Maldives office include providing a one-stop shop for all your investment needs, providing information and necessary resources that investors need to explore and set up a business in Maldives, business matching services with local partners or government agencies. And we also facilitate discussions with and consultation with government agencies as well as related stakeholders, and provide assistance on all stages of investments from conceptualization to the operation of your businesses here in Maldives. The Invest Maldives office also manages the USP Secretariat as well as the SCZ Secretariat. So for any queries or submission of all your investment interests, you may reach out to us through our email or our website, or we are also located our head office is also located in Velana building here in Male. Thank you very much. That would be all from the Ministry of Economic Development. If you have any queries, we'll be happy to answer at the end of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Uzma. Before we move on to the presentation from the Director Generals at the Ministry of Fisheries, Marine Resources and Agriculture, Mr. Adam Ziad and Mr. Ismail Rashid, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Chandru, if you might like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Emma. I just wanted to, just say a few words as sort of like an opening remark. Let me officially, welcome Your Excellency, Mr. Ibrahim Shahid, the High Commissioner of Maldives and Singapore, and yourself, your good self, Ms. Iman Hussein, Deputy High Commissioner of Maldives in Singapore. And of course, I have my Vice Chairman who's in Delhi, my board members, all dignitaries and speakers from the ministry. I must say thank you, and I warmly welcome all of you to this joint webinar to discuss the immense opportunities that the beautiful Maldives is ready to offer to our business community, in particular members of the Singapore Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. While face-to-face meetings and seminars are in full swing, just as important are these webinars, which we are quite used to these days, to take stock of where we are now in our area of cooperation. When you mention Maldives, what comes to everyone's mind? Well, the sun, the sea, the beaches, holidays, and tourism tops everyone's mind when asked what you have to say about Maldives. And now with the reopening of the borders, tourism and visiting beach resorts is always on the top of the minds of holidaymakers from Singapore and the world over. Here, Maldives stands out as one of a must-see and visit destinations for many people, including myself. This is why this webinar is most timely for both Singapore and Maldives to tap on the tourist market of each city. Besides tourism, we are also discussing the growth of the real estate, fisheries, aquaculture, and the renewable energy sectors. Now, recent events around the world only reinforce the need for small states like Singapore to ensure that it has a diversity of supplies of food products, among them fishery, and a host of other products which are in great demand in Singapore households. Hence, SICCI would be happy to hear from Your Excellency and your team the various opportunities available for cooperation in the import and supply of food products to Singapore. And we would be very happy to share the findings of this webinar with various government agencies handling food supplies. Now, just to talk a little bit about our chamber and the recently formed FSIO, which stands for Federation of Singapore Indian Organizations. This is an umbrella body of 26 Indian organizations under the auspice of SICCI. Now, these 26 organizations bring together close to 10,000 individual and corporate members. It was formally launched by President Halimah Yacob on 12th May this year. And I personally see a lot of synergy that the Maldives and our FSIO organizations can together, let it be in culture, arts, and the people-to-people interaction. Many of our FSIO members excel in art, and I hope after today's session, we'll be able to connect you with our FSIO partners to explore cultural cooperation programs between Singapore and Maldives. Allow me now to thank you, Your Excellency, for this wonderful opportunity to discuss our cooperation. And I certainly look forward to SICCI working very closely with you and the various business chambers in the Maldives to bring our ties to a much higher level. Wishing you good health. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandru.
My
I
pleasure.
now give the floor to Mr. Adam Ziad and Mr. Ismail Rashid, Director Generals at the Ministry of Fisheries, Marine Resources and Agriculture, for your presentations. Ziad, you can take the floor now.
Thank you very much. Give me a moment to share my screen. I hope the presentation is visible.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, a very good morning, and thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to present to the Singapore investors on the opportunities on fisheries, mariculture, and agriculture investments in the Maldives. My name is Adam Ziad. I'm the Director General for Fisheries. This presentation would be delivered in three parts. The first few slides from myself, followed by the segment on mariculture by Ms. Shafia Naim, and then on to the segment on agriculture by Ismail Rashid. To give you a brief background on the fishery sector of the Maldives, fisheries is today the second most important economic sector of the Maldives. It employs roughly 20% of the labor force in the Maldives, and then most of it within the harvesting sector. Fisheries also account for 98% of the physical exports from the Maldives. What we have is 100% local fishing fleet, and we do not license foreign flagged vessels to fish in the Maldives. We are considered by many as the home of the pole and line fishing. Looking at the annual statistics, catches from the Maldives, the catches of the Maldives actually peaked at in around 2006 at 188,000 tons, following which we've had a considerable dip in catches, and it has now increased and stabilized around 120,000 tons. Looking at the graph, what we would notice is skipjack tuna is by far the biggest share of the catches, followed by yellowfin. If you look at the export revenues from both species, they actually equate to similar amounts as of now. As I alluded to a couple of slides ago, we considered the home of pole and line fishing, and pole and line is actually synonymous with sustainable form of fishing. If you go through some of the environmental NGOs, they have actually covered in the international press. If you look at Greenpeace, they see pole and line as the most environmentally friendly form of fishing in the world. Our fishery is also certified by the Marine Stewardship Council as a sustainable form of fishing. And the handline yellowfin tuna fishery that we have is also a highly selective form of fishing that is regarded by many as a very sustainable form of fishing. Looking at the pole and line and the handline yellowfin tuna fishery, again, they account for more than 98% of the total removals or catches in the Maldives. The rest, 2%, majority of that is made up from the reef fisheries, and the reef fisheries mainly target the local resort market. And we also have an export-oriented grouper fishery that would account for the 2% of the other catches. We also have a budding fishery targeting diamondback squid. What we found is we've got excellent catch rates. And this was actually established during the pilot phases when we first started the fishery in the Maldives. The harvesting sector of the Maldives is strictly for the locals. As I mentioned earlier, we do not license foreign flag vessels, and this particular segment is maintained for locals only. I'd like to take Shafia to take over from here. Shafia, please.
Okay, thank you, Ziad. Yeah, I'll just talk about the aquaculture slash mariculture developments in the Maldives. It is at its very, very infant stages with us, the government focusing mostly on groupers and sea cucumbers at the moment, developing the techniques and um, transferring this technology to the communities. There is no limitation on any developing any other technology for other aquaculture commodities that are locally available in the Maldives. Our clear waters is a plus point for this development. It offers a really conducive environment to produce very good quality products from marine aquaculture. A large World Bank funded project looks into establishing the basic infrastructure requirements to kickstart the aquaculture sector, and also puts in a lot of effort into the operationalization of this sector. Can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So with the World Bank project, a multi-species hatchery is being developed at Managala in Gulf Alif Atoll. This is in the southern, one of the southern atolls of the country. There's phases of this, the infrastructure development where investors can actually join in now. There's going to be a design, construction, and operation phase for the hatchery project. All of the ancillary facilities, including accommodation, powerhouses, and entrance channel and jetties, are already available on the island. Next, please. We also have recently embarked on a project to set up regional hatcheries for grouper production. With these are going to be small scale in 5 inhabited islands, where investors can also actually sort of set these up. The idea is for a minimum production of 20,000 fingerlings per month, but with capacity to also expand on that. Next, please. The aquaculture sector can be 100% foreign investment for parties who are proposing to invest an initial amount of $1 million US. Parties with government approval are also able to get into a lease of a maximum of 50 years, during which they can actually carry out all of the mariculture works. Yeah, thank you. I'll hand over to my colleague, Ismail.
Ismail, I believe you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you, Shafia. I'll be taking a minute or two to present you the diversification and investment opportunities in the agriculture sector. As we all know that Maldives is a net importer of its food requirements, and including fresh fruits and vegetables. And to name a few, a huge quantity of chilies, papayas and cucumber and bananas are imported into the country, and which has the potential, which can be easily cultivated, and it provides expansion and investment opportunities for local production. We have 7,000 plus farming families registered in the ministry, and a number of commercial market growers. And with the expansion in the tourism sector, we believe that there's an increased demand for high quality fresh fruits such as melons, papayas, bananas, short-term leafy vegetables, as well as local, as well as processed local foods. And our market growers focus mainly on the tourism industry as main market for local agriculture produce. Next, please. Next slide, please. To account for small and limited land availability, one of the key focus areas for expansion of local production would be introduction of high efficient greenhouse-based vertical hydroponic system and soilless growing system. These modern production systems are climate smart, and we believe this as the future farming system in the Maldives. Since Singapore is a leading country in this type of farming system, we believe this is an area of cooperation which we can work together. And in order to minimize the post-harvest losses which farmers incur during the transportation of agricultural produce, to support distribution of agricultural produce to markets using refrigerated cargo boats with compartments. There is also investment opportunity on cold and dry storage facilities, as well as processing and packaging plants that those use renewable energy. We also have the potential to link some of our local produce like Maldivian papayas to foreign markets, provided that they are environmentally tagged as safe to eat locally grown produce. The government is trying to promote Maldives Good Agriculture Practice Scheme so as to ensure that the safety of our local produce which comes to our food plates. Last but not the least, there is also opportunity to invest on commercial agriculture from crop to poultry production on uninhabited islands under the jurisdiction of this ministry. These islands are leased out for a period of 21 years with an objective to improve food production and to reduce the volume of food imports to ensure food security in the Maldives. That's all from the fisheries, marine resources, and agriculture sector. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ziad, Shafia, and Ismail for your presentations. Now I would like to invite our next presenter, Mr. Ahmed Ali, Director General at the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Technology for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me share the screen. I hope my screen is visible now. Can you see
Thank
my
you.
screen?
Yes, it is. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you. Thank you. So I'm trying to present the power sector of the Maldives. As you know that we have dispersed nature of islands, and each island have its own power generating and distributing systems. We don't have one national grid. We have 164 tourist resorts, and each of these resorts, they have a power generating system and a distribution system, and they are looking for the investors who want to come and invest on their resorts on solar or other renewable technologies. Similarly, we have 187 inhabited islands where people are living. In those islands, the power is generated again using diesel generators. We have our islands are very small. These just few square kilometers to range. These islands ranges from just few square kilometers. Then the population of the islands are also very, very small, and it varies. Again, due to this reason, the power demand is also varying in these islands. Um, Power systems of these islands are developed on ad hoc basis. Those are not well planned. So as a result, we are having a number of generators in this island. These generators are again of various ages and sizes. The power distribution cables are of, different sizes, are not properly sized. As a result, they have a huge distribution loss. Uh, and as you all are aware that currently we are entirely depending on imported fossil fuel in meeting all our energy needs. We spend roughly 10% of our GDP for fuel import. Most of the fuel imported approximately 80% of fuel imported is
Yeah,
diesel.
sorry, Ahmed. Sorry, can I just pause you for a minute? We are not seeing this the slides moving. Yeah, that's all right now. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, carry on.
Okay, we are, I mean, depending entirely on imported fossil fuel on meeting all our energy needs. We spend roughly 10% of our GDP for fuel import. The out of the fuel we import, 80%, roughly 80% is diesel fuel, and out of this 80%, 60% of diesel is used for electricity power generation. um, uh, the out of the power generated in inhabited islands, um, more than 50% is consumed in Greater Mali region, that is around the capital city. We have an strategic action plan. According to the strategic action plan, our energy consumption power, especially for the power generation, energy mix will be increased by 20% compared to 2018 level. And as a result, we will be reducing 40 million liters of diesel, and also will be installing 30 megawatt hour of storage. In addition to this, recently we have come up with a very ambitious target of becoming net zero by 2030. And in order to achieve this target, we believe that the only option would be, I mean, to move towards renewables, renewable energy sources which are locally available. In this regard, we have solar PV, which is tested and proven. We have commercial establishment of solar PV systems, and also we are exploring other renewable energy sources like wind, ocean current, and waste to energy. And in parallel, with this renewable energy, we are also implementing a demand side energy efficiency programs, including the energy efficiency in transport sector and use of renewable energy in transport sector. Uh, when I say transport sector, it includes land and sea as well. Mm, to achieve our net zero target, to date we have installed 36.5 megawatt, which is roughly 10%, equivalent to 10% of our peak demand in. So if we look at the investment opportunities in this power sector, there are different channels that you can come and invest in Maldives. Is one of my previous presenter mentioned, you can also submit proposals through unsolicited proposals, USP channel. And in addition to that, we have channels to submit your express your interest through the competitive bidding processes, through the projects that we are implementing with support from the multilateral development banks. To name one such project is the POIST project, Preparing Outer Islands for Sustainable Energy Development project, administered by the Asian Development Bank, which is a public sector investment model project. On this project, the government will be doing the feasibility studies and will prepare bidding documents, and it will be open for international competitive bidding. So far, we have completed 6 rounds of such tendering, and we have been able to install solar PV battery diesel hybrid systems in 50 islands under this project. We still have two more opportunities under this project. As we speak, there is one tender opening which is going to be closed on 30th June. You can get access to the relevant documents from the uh, website here, Ministry of Finance. And the second project to install 3.5 megawatt of solar PV hybrid systems in 30 islands um, in Meme and Faf et al. Will be open for tender in June this year, next month. Again, with the POIST project, we are also implementing another project with support from the World Bank. Under this project is mainly focused on the private sector investments. The government will provide necessary facilitations like partial payment guarantees and currency convertibility. And this under this project, the parties who win the contracts will sign a PPA for 20 years for pre-agreed tariff. Again, we are going to start a new project with support from Asian Development Bank. This project is also, very much focusing on the private sector investments. Under this project, grid upgradation and battery storage, battery energy storage will be installed under the, by the government, and the private sector will have to install solar panels and sign a PPA to sell the electricity generated from the systems. In addition to those projects, we also have, opportunities in 90 small islands, which consumes about 100 kilowatt energy demand, which have 100 kilowatt of demand. There is an opportunity to install 67 megawatt of solar PV with 225 megawatt hour of battery energy storage system to meet 100% of daytime peak demand of those islands. And in addition to that, we also have 70 more islands to install 100 kilowatt, um, 70 islands which consumes around between 100 to 500 kilowatt, and 61 megawatt of solar PV and 190 kilowatt megawatt hour of battery energy storage uh, can be installed in these 70 islands to meet 100% of the daytime peak power. And in addition to that, we also have 15 more islands which consumes more than 500 kilowatt, and the required solar capacity is 30 megawatt with 60 megawatt hour of um, battery energy storage. Under this, 30% of daytime peak demand can be met. But in addition to this, even if any investor have any interest to invest on any particular island or any particular group of islands, they can conduct uh, due diligence and submit a USP together with offered PPA rate. And lastly, we also have an opportunity to invest in Greater Malay region on a lagoon. Uh, uh, this area you can install roughly around 30 to 50 megawatt of floating solar, and it can be connected to the grid. The detailed assessment has to be conducted by the interested parties, but still this opportunity is there. And if you have any further clarification or questions, I'd be more than happy to answer at the end of this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. Uh, the last presenter for today is Ms. Hanan Rashid, Senior Business Development Officer at Housing Development Corporation. Hanan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Iman. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Okay, let me just share my screen. You see the presentation, right? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. First, on behalf of the corporation, I would like to thank the organizers for extending the invitation to HTC to take part in this webinar. And I would like to introduce my team as well. Joining today's session from HTC are our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Ahmed Sham, Chief Commercial Officer, Mr. Ahmed Nafiz, Chief Planning Officer, Mr. Hussein Ziad, and Financial Controller, Mr. Mohammed Sharaf. So I will begin the presentation with an overview of the corporation and islands under HTC, followed by the key investment opportunities in Horomale, and finally the investor application process at HTC. Housing Development Corporation is a 100% state-owned enterprise which was incorporated in 2001. And since its incorporation, we have been the master regulator, developer, and builder of this reclaimed city. And in September 2020, the government of Maldives merged the Greater Mala Industrial Zone Limited with HDC, and it broadened the corporation's mandate to the development of the industrial islands of Tilafushi and Golifaro as well. So as you can see from this map, Hormala is linked to the international airport and the capital city Mala via the existing bridge. And you can see the link to Gurifaro and Tilafushi, which is an upcoming bridge that is marked in dotted blue. Tilafushi it was initially a municipal landfill site, which is existing 17 hectares of land, but we have additional plans to reclaim 152 hectares. As for Gulifaro, this is also another integral part of the industrial hub that would cater to the demands of the Greater Mala region. Upon completion of the reclamation and development of Gulifaro and Tilafushi, the main port of the Maldives will be established in Gulifaro and warehouses will be relocated to Tilafushi, making these two islands the main industrial zone for the capital region. As the first planned city of Maldives, Hulumala is developed under a master plan with designated residential, commercial, institutional, recreational, hospitality, and light industrial zones. Currently we have a population of about 90,000 people residing in Hulumala in phase 1 and 2, and it is designed to cater to a total population of 211,000 people upon completion. Some of the key developments include the Heritage District, integrated Central Business District, the Urban Isle, and the Business District. We are also making efforts to develop Holomala as a sustainable and resilient city. Holomala was reclaimed 2 meters above sea level, and our master plan is formulated to create wind corridors and green corridors as well. We also encourage investors to incorporate energy efficient technology in their developments in order to align with the government targets, as Mr. Ahmad Ali just highlighted before me. We are also working towards making Hormala the first smart city in Maldives, and under this initiative, we have already an established GPON open access network in phase 2 of Hormala. Looking at the investment opportunities that are available, the total investment cost approximates about 1.4 billion US dollars. Now I will briefly look at some of the key development opportunities that are available for interested parties. The Integrated Central Business District is targeted to address the growing demands of the exhibition and convention needs of the Greater Mala region, as well as broaden the opportunities for tour, diversifying our tourism to the MICE sector as well. The development is planned to be completed within 5 years and will cost about 250 million US dollars. It comprises of a convention center, shopping mall, and city hotel, along with service departments, an office complex, and a parking building. The urban isle is a 24-hectare land that is targeted for tourism and tourism related activities. Our aim is to diversify from the one island, one hotel concept and capitalize on our strategic location with the connectivities to the airport and the capital as well. We are targeting the development of this project to be completed within 6 years, and it's estimated to cost 682 million US dollars. The components included in this development include upscale hotels, mid-scale hotels, as well as a variety of food and beverage and entertainment and recreational facilities. The commercial spine is said to be the commercial heart of the city, and it is a pedestrianized zone where we are targeting large regional commercial giants and as well as international franchises and national brands. We are estimating that this project will be completed within a duration of 2 years. The integrated development located in phase 2 of Hulumale is another development that we are targeting to cater to large scale events, exhibitions, and conventions within the Greater Mala region and in Maldives. We estimate that this development will take 5 years for completion and would cost about 170 million US dollars. And in addition to the convention center and convention and exhibition center, the developers will have the option of including a hotel, shopping mall, and offices within this development. The Marina View apartments are one of our luxury category of residential offerings, and it is estimated to cost 65 million USD, and it will be built within a duration of 2 years. I would like to highlight that this project is now open for EOI applications with a deadline of until 14th June 2022, and further information can be obtained from our website. I will now briefly let you know about the investment process at HTC. The interested investors may choose to apply to the corporation's developments through the RFP process or through the unsolicited proposal policy (EOI) process. Um, the EOI process mainly comprises of 4 milestone activities or actions, which is the submission of expression of interest, framework agreement signing, conditional award, and agreement signing. In submitting EOIs, the applicants are required to submit a duly completed investor application form along with the documents listed in the form. This is the first step of approaching HTC, and the EOIs can be submitted physically at HTC head office or via email. Once the submissions have been reviewed, HTC will select the successful party and will enter a framework agreement with this party. And once the framework agreement obligations are successfully fulfilled, a conditional award will be made for the project. Upon fulfillment of the conditions set forth in the award, HDC and the selected party will then sign the project agreement for the development. This concludes my presentation on investment opportunities in Holomale for today. Thank you for your interest and wish you all a good day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanan. Can you stop? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Hanan. Before we move on to the question and answer session, I would like to give the floor to the Vice Chairman of SICCI, Mr. Kishore, to make a few observations. Mr. Kishore, would you like to take the floor? Mr. Kishore, are you there?
Mr. Kishore,
Was he on board, Dinesh?
that's what I understand, because I've been just texting him on the side. I'm sorry, Excellency Imam, can't seem to locate him, but effort was made to. Oh, there he is.
I couldn't get him just now earlier.
Sorry, Mr. Kishore, Excellency Iman has introduced you to the floor. Would you like to make your observations?
Thank you, Ms. Iman. Good afternoon to everybody. I'm indeed very happy to hear the detailed information that you have given of the investment opportunities in the Maldives. I think there are a lot of good opportunities there, a lot of good investment opportunities, I believe, and looks like it that the tourism that has been missing out in the last couple of years will come back alive. A lot of the Singaporeans will go there, and I believe that now Maldives is going to prosper further. I thank you. I think the information was in fact very detailed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kishore. Can we now move on to the question and answer session? If there are any questions, would you like to raise your hands, or you can even type it out in the chat log?
Excellency Iman, maybe I could just chime in while we field the questions. I had some talking points that was scheduled for my Vice Chairman, Mr. Manish, to make available to the community that's with us this afternoon. First being, according to some available data, in 2020, Singapore exported $162 million worth of trade with Maldives. And the products that Singapore exported are refined petroleum, which is 27.6 million. Strange one here, broadcasting equipment amounting to 17.1 million, and the other is rolled tobacco, I guess as a trading hub, 13.1 million. And during the last 25 years of the export Singapore to Maldives, we have increased at an annualized rate of 1.37, Chairman, from 116 million in 1995 to 162 million in 2020. So I think we have made, Chairman, Dr. Chandu, immense progress over the past years. But as Vice Chairman Kishore has duly noted, this is an opportune time as we are at the cusp of the rescinding COVID restrictions globally. And I guess some of the points that the various departments and economic entities from Maldives made earlier would have some significant impact. In fact, my second point, economically, There are many sectors in which Maldives, which may attract Singapore business interest. As Mr. Vice Chairman Kishore pointed out, tourism is a primary sector, which contributes, you mentioned earlier as well, 28% to the country's gross domestic product, and earns about 60% of the country's foreign exchanges. I think the other point that is noteworthy was infrastructure development on the area of power and energy. As you know, Singapore is a very robust capital market. We are able to raise money for various projects, and there's a lot of fixed income investments as well as platforms within Singapore. And if we could make available some of that information more to us, and then we could filter that through the investment community. I think the other area that we'd like to talk about is, according to Maldives Monetary Authority, the construction industry had a fantastic growth of 51%. And Singapore also houses quite a few large construction firms, primarily because of our own infrastructure development in terms of the MRT deep tunneling projects that are available, and several government-linked companies are involved with heavy industry development as well. So this is another area that we could play a catalytical role to leverage some of the investment opportunities as they present themselves to the local community. That's all the points that I have outlined from VC Manish, and I would like to hand the floor back to you, Excellency Iman, to make any remarks.
Thank you, Dinesh. We can now move on to the question and answer session. So if anyone has a question or comments, you may raise your hands, or you can type it in the chat log, please. We will also be sharing the slides, the presentation slides with SICCI, so that you can share with your members as well. If there are any other inquiries, you can also email us. Okay, there's one question. Are there any concessions for investors who want to move to the Maldives? MED, would you like to take this?
Yes, our Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Nuha, is here to answer the question.
Yep.
Hi, good morning. With respect to the question on concessions, I think as Ms. Uzma mentioned in her presentation, the key law under which...
Excellency Iman, we're having difficulty in audio.
Uzma, we can't hear very well.
One second.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me now?
I can. Dinesh, can you hear? Okay, go ahead, please.
So can I continue?
Yes, please.
Everyone can hear me. Okay. So I'm Nuha from Invest Maldives. With respect to the question on concessions, we do offer concessions depending on the project scale and the importance of the project to the Maldivian economy. So in terms of large scale strategic infrastructure projects, the government has laid out the special economic zones law, under which a list of incentives are listed in the law. So for these projects, which are relatively large scale in excess of $150 million and closely aligned with the economic strategic priorities of the government, we do offer concessions in terms of exemptions from the BPT law, import duty exemptions, as well as GST and withholding concessions. So simple answer is that yes, we have concessions, a program of offering concessions, but depending on the project and its nature and the investment values.
Thank you, Noha. There's one more question from Purnima. With regards to mega unique events like Lifestyle Expo or MICE events in Maldives, who should we write to in the Maldives Tourism Board?
Since we don't have anyone from the Tourism Promotion Board here, you could write to us at Invest Maldives and we'll be happy to facilitate the arrangements.
Yeah, I will just add to that. You can write to the High Commission here, and then we will direct to the right authority in Maldives as well. Okay. There's one more question. We are interested in fisheries, but more focused on crab farming. I saw the parts about tuna and squid, but is there any crab market there for investment? Would the Fisheries Ministry like to take this?
Okay, it's Shafia. We've got local varieties of crab, which might need a bit of studying into to see what works in the markets. If there is something that's locally available in the Maldives, there's nothing stopping anybody from investing in those sectors.
Thank you, Shafia. Yeah, the next question is, are there any restrictions on foreigners owning property, apartments and office real estates?
Yes, we don't allow ownership of land or property in the Maldives by foreigners, but we do offer long-term leasehold rights of up to 99 years.
Yeah, thank you, Noha. Got one more question. Whom should I contact for real estate development investments? Again, you can contact us at the High Commission and we will direct you to the Economic Development Ministry or to the relevant authorities in the Maldives. Or would you like to add to that, Noha?
In terms of foreign investments in the real estate sector, as Uzma mentioned in her presentation, this is an open area for investment. So if there is any interest to registering a business, you can write to the Invest Maldives. You usually have to submit a foreign investment application form and the process would move on from there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions.
I think there's a hand up, Excellency Iman, from Mr. Ahmad Asad.
Hi, this is from HDC.
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
With regards to the real estate developments available in Brunei, actually, foreign parties are allowed to directly contact HDC through the email provided at business@hdc.com.mv towards the end of our presentation. So we do accept also set proposals where we do go through the EOI process as Ms. Hanan has explained. So investors have the opportunity to directly approach HDC as well. I just wanted to highlight that point as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see any other questions. Are there any other questions? We'll just wait for a little while. Okay.
Excellency, I just want to chime in. There's one last point that SICI has many companies diversifying their business interests in several sectors. And a close cooperation between SICI and the Maldivian business community is a win-win outcome for both sides. And now is an opportune time, moment for SICI and the Maldivian High Commission to possibly look at organizing a business mission for SICI members to Maldives to touch base with leading industrialists and political leadership to bring about better cooperation between the two communities. We have an excellent working relationship together with the Malay Chamber as well as the Chinese Chamber. So not only can we leverage our own membership, but we can also work as a lead entity together with the High Commission in Singapore to endeavor a business mission with the permission of my chairman as well as the board. That's something that we can work on toward working paper, and we can then submit it from my end to my board, as well as your end to the necessary entities in the Maldivian government.
Thank you very much for that, Dinesh. High Commissioner Shahib, would you like to say something?
Thank you. Thank you, Dinesh. With regards to the visit, as we had discussed initially, we will be more than happy to facilitate, and I'm sure my colleagues in other line ministries would be happy to host a team from SICI, and we can work this out on a convenient date, hopefully soon. And we look forward to welcoming a team from SICI to the Maldives.
Thank you, High Commissioner. That's very inviting. Thank you. We'll certainly organize a team. Yeah,
Okay.
Delegate of businessmen to Maldives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see there are no more requests from the floor. I will take it as an indication to safely start concluding this session. Thank you very much to SICI, Dr. Chandru, Mr. Manish and your team for the fantastic work that you've done with us for this webinar. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our colleagues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the ECD team, Ambassador Hala, High Commissioner Shahib, and also my team here at the High Commission for the hard work. And thank you also for all the presenters for the wonderful presentations. We will definitely be sharing this with the SICI in due course very shortly. Yes, thank you very much. And we look forward to receiving you all in the Maldives and also working with the members of SICI and bringing in investments to the Maldives soon. So thank you very much. And we will be welcoming you in the Maldives.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deputy High Commissioner Emma. Thank you. Thank you, High Commissioner.